Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is where we break down all the key concepts you need to pass the Louisiana Notary Exam. Today, we're going to tackle another essential topic you need to know in Louisiana notarial practice: leases. Whether you're studying for the exam or just brushing up on your knowledge, this video will help you understand the basics of leasing law in Louisiana. So let's dive in. In Louisiana, a lease is defined as a contract in which one party, the lessor, grants another party, the lessee, the right to use a thing for a specified period in exchange for rent. This is a simple yet fundamental concept that every notary should know, as defined in Louisiana Civil Code Article 2668 for definition of lease. The lease can be for various types of property, whether it's a residential home, a piece of land, or even a movable item like equipment. The critical elements of a lease include the identification of the property being leased, the term or duration of the lease, and the amount of rent to be paid. Next, let's talk in more detail about the different types of leases recognized under Louisiana law. Leases can generally be categorized into residential, agricultural, mineral, commercial, or consumer leases. Each type has specific rules and considerations. Louisiana Civil Code Article 2671 defines these categorization as follows. Residential lease refers to a thing being occupied as a dwelling. Agricultural leases are typically longer-term agreements due to the nature of farming activities. This is when a thing is a pre-dial estate that is used for agricultural purposes. Mineral leases focus on the extraction of resources like oil and gas. Commercial leases refer to leases in which a thing is used for business or commercial purposes. And consumer leases refer to leases which involve movable property used for personal or familial purposes. Understanding the distinctions between these types is crucial for applying the correct legal provisions. Now that we have an understanding of types of leases, let's move on to the form and recording of leases. While not all leases need to be in writing to be enforceable, certain leases, like those involving immovable property, should be in writing and recorded to protect against third-party claims. This is especially important when dealing with long-term leases. Louisiana Civil Code Article 2681 highlights the importance of recording a lease, particularly for immovables, as it makes the lease enforceable against third parties. It explains that a lease may be oral or in writing, but, without recording, the lease may only be enforceable between the original parties, which could lead to complications if the property is sold to someone else. Next, let's talk about the obligations of the lessor and the lessee. These are crucial for ensuring that both parties fulfill their responsibilities during the lease term. According to Louisiana Civil Code Article 2682, the lessor's main obligations include delivering the property in a condition suitable for its intended use, maintaining the property, and ensuring the lessee's peaceful possession. On the other hand, we have the lessee's obligations. These are defined in Louisiana Civil Code Article 2683. The lessee must pay rent, use the property as intended, and return it in the same condition at the end of the lease, subject to normal wear and tear. These obligations are foundational to the lease agreement, and as a notary, you should make sure that both parties clearly understand their duties under the lease. Another important aspect of leasing is the rules around modifications and repairs. Lessees may often want to make improvements or changes to the leased property. However, under Louisiana law, such modifications typically require the lessor's consent. Louisiana Civil Code Article 2695 defines legalities in detail. For instance, if the lessee makes repairs or improvements without the lessor's consent, they might not be entitled to reimbursement, and this could even lead to legal disputes. Notaries should ensure that any agreement about repairs or modifications is clearly documented in the lease. Let's wrap up with termination and dissolution of leases. There are several ways a lease can be terminated, including the expiration of the lease term, mutual agreement, or breach of contract by either party. Additionally, a lease can be dissolved if the lessee fails to pay rent or if the property is destroyed. It's important to note that both parties have specific rights and remedies in these situations. For example, a lessee may have the right to terminate the lease if the lessor fails to make necessary repairs, while a lessor might be entitled to damages if the lessee vacates the property prematurely. And there you have it, the basics of leases for the Louisiana Notary Exam. Understanding these concepts will not only help you pass the exam, but will also prepare you for real-world situations where you'll need to draft or review lease agreements. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more notary exam tips. If you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover, feel free to leave a comment below. See you next time.